And wanted to move on into scams also, because I did have one friend, you could say acquaintance, maybe because we weren't like really good friends, but I know somebody who'd been lonely for years. And once I said I'd been married to, somebody from abroad, and this was before Luis had come in, he called me up and he was like, well, since you married somebody from abroad, I thought maybe that's a route I should do too. So it was somebody from probably like India or Pakistan or something like that, but they portrayed themselves as being a U.S. military member. They went through this whole having found Saddam's gold or something. He was catfished and never wanted to believe that that was the case. But that really is outside of the whole visa process. I've heard somebody say that nobody falls in love as fast as a straight man who's got no place to live. And I can also say that that can be true of a student visa holder who's in the United States getting ready to graduate. So somebody in their last year of university and they've got what's an F1, a student visa. A lot of them tend to realize that, rather than go back, which the deal was supposed to be for them to get their education here, go back and use that education back home. But they, realize that if they want to stay, unless they can get a job offer, marrying a U.S. citizen is their next option. I had one friend do that, and it wasn't a happy ending. I mean, they got the visa. There was a lot of scrutiny because also be aware that you have somebody coming in on a student visa, especially in their last year. They're going to assume it's fraud from the get go, and so like this person I knew actually had an uphill climb, and then 2 years later they did get approved barely for the conditional visa, and then they got denied actually for because once you get a conditional visa, you get a permanent visa 2 years later when you show that you're still living together in a bona fide relationship. And they actually got denied, I think, twice, even though, and I knew them, so I knew that they were living together and everything. But there were certain aspects of it that they thought it was fake. And I think it ended up not being real. And in some ways, I think the immigrating person's alcoholism had more of a factor than anything else. But going back, whether you're gay or straight, really, beware of anybody who is a student and all of a sudden they are hot and heavy dating, their last year here. Not to say they're all bad people, but it's a big red flag. As far as avoiding scams, I think if you're gay, even though they're not preyed upon because there are different nationalities that tend to have a demographic. So like Filipinos go after older men, white men, Russian women go after men. But then, like I said, the MENA countries go after older women, kind of preying on their loneliness. And they also figured out like what they like. Let's say it's Words with Friends, that game, or some of these other medias where they can kind of interact and just be like, oh, hey, you're cute, type of thing. So I'd be very weary of anyone you ever meet off the internet, because some of them are getting more, kind of like my friend, they're getting a little bit more savvy that there is an untapped market of gay people out there that, could get them a visa. A lot of them are willing to do whatever it takes, you could say. And so actually, even some of the women that I remember, when I was on the discussion forum, some of them that would catch their, spouse once they came in were actually like on Grindr and things like that. So they were portraying themselves as straight men, but they were actually gay. So who knows if some of those were just saying, well, I might as well pursue a gay man. Yeah, don't marry somebody unless you've met them, unless you've interacted with them a lot. Anybody that tries to rush you, definitely second guess them. Spend as much time in person with them as possible. Because I'm always kind of surprised how quickly people might do that. Like in my case, we met in 2014. We got married in 2016, and he didn't come to the United States until the end of 2017. So we had several years, and we, like every year, had seen each other at least 3 weeks out of the year, if not more, spending like time together. So, and plus I worked with him on his school stuff. So I knew everything he told me about his life was the real deal. You really, really have to be careful that you're dealing with who the person says they are. People will meet somebody maybe for a week or less, and then start getting married and assuming everything else that they've known over the internet is true. I wouldn't do that. Taking your precautions to get to know the person and know that everything's genuine. And that's the main thing.